Okay. Hi, good morning. My name is Raoul Martinez. I'm here at the San Francisco Public Library with Andrea Grimes, the curator and director of the Special Collections Department at the Book Arts and Special Collections Department of the San Francisco Public Library. We're going to see some of the Blackletter pieces owned by the San Francisco Public Library today. We have some beautiful pieces. So, and thank you very much to Andrea Grimes for putting this together for us.
Thank you, Raoul. I'm happy to see you all. It's a really nice group of people here. And hello to all of you on Zoom. You're in the Rare Book Room, which houses the Richard Harrison collection of calligraphy and lettering, one of the most astonishingly beautiful and unique collections of contemporary calligraphy anywhere in the world. Everyone is welcome, and we are open to everyone 7 days a week. There's no appointment necessary, but if you are coming from a distance, you can always contact me by phone or email at andrea.grimes@sfpl.org to arrange to have pieces pulled if you know what you're looking for. If not, pick my brain. I'm always happy to bring out whatever you would like, or highlights from the collection, or my favorites. So take it away, Raoul.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. The first piece we have is several leaves from a Latin Bible. Now, is this an antiphonal or a Bible?
They're antiphonals, and they're from several different ones.
Okay, so this is an assortment of various antiphonals. I think they're from the 14th century, or possibly
probably 14th, 15th.
Okay, the first one here is and the beautiful page from an antiphonal. It looks like it's on vellum. I don't want to touch it. It's ruled with red ink or vermilion ink, and it's done in a beautiful rotunda. Rotunda is one of the Blackletter scripts. A rotunda with flat feet, which is extremely difficult to do. You can see there's some scribal. Well, there's some special characters such as the round R, the R rotunda, which was the version of the R that was used following letters with rounded closed counters. Also interesting A, an indented A with a very, very slanted diagonal hairline. Another rounded R. This is a really beautiful piece. And a big reversal S in there. An antiphonal, I believe, was a book or a page that was set in front of a group of singers, or possibly a congregation in a religious ceremony, to be read by the participants. And so they were all, antiphonals are always written in a very large text. And another page on vellum with a more tightly spaced lines, and this is textura. You can tell it's very, the letters and the spacing in between the verticals is much tighter. But these have flat feet. You can see there's a P, which, well, this is I'm not sure if that means supra. The P is a scribal abbreviation. It's a P with a a crossbar through the descender. Another scribal abbreviation that might mean orum, that funny squiggle there. And it's done in black and red and blue ink. Some of the versals are in blue. Well, these are a dark blue ink. I'm not sure what it's made of. There's a vermilion ink, which may be made from, it may contain mercury. Mm-hmm. And beautiful. This is a versal L, I believe. I think that's an L in the lower left-hand corner. There seems to be a leather tab attached to the page, perhaps for quick reference, on the right-hand side. It's a fairly fine vellum. And here we have a slightly paler vellum. A page from an antiphonal. Doesn't look like the same antiphonal. The proportions are about the same. I'm not sure if this came from the same one. It might be the same one.
No, I don't think so. They are separated leaves, that detached leaves that we really don't know where they came from.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not really certain of the source.
How many leaves do you have in the collection?
Oh my God.
How many?
I counted them. I put them on a spreadsheet. I can't tell you, but there's at least, there could be at least maybe 10 in here. I don't know, but the entire collection of manuscripts, pre-1600 manuscripts, is there's quite a few. So, but I'm sorry, I don't have to count.
Now the next piece, this is by Friedrich Neugebauer, I believe.
Yes. Well, there's Friedrich Neugebauer and his portfolio of original pieces.
Okay, so this is an original piece. This is matted. May I lift the mat?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is done on a kind of a turquoise blue, dark turquoise blue paper. On the text is in a white ink, and it's a slightly tilted, very tightly spaced textura or blackletter. I'm not really sure if you would call that fraktur. With beautiful angular letters. May I turn the light on?
Oh,
This light. I think, yeah, we might be able to see a little better. But the spacing is very beautifully done, very tightly spaced, but very consistent, very regular. These are very interesting with these horizontal ascenders, or well, kind of like, I guess more like a swash on a horizontal swash on the ascenders. With an attribution in large, I guess, uncial majuscules. Johann Beer. I don't know anything about.
Do you know a date for that one?
I do not have a date.
These were in the 70s.
Okay.
70s, yeah. Friedrich Neugebauer is a 20th century German calligrapher. You can see some guidelines in what looks like a white pencil.
we move to the next one?
Yeah, let's go on to the next. This is Frühlingsnacht, Michael Dennis. And it's a broadside on green paper. May I lift the map? Broadside on in white ink on a green paper. It looks like it's been it's a paste up. There were several pieces that have been put together. I assume this was done possibly for reproduction. They since it is composed of several different pieces of calligraphy that were then put together. And this is a narrow rounded fraktur. Now, Frühlingsnacht, does that mean spring night?
Yeah.
Spring evening?
Yeah.
Spring
No,
night?
it's spring night. And it says the spring night is mild. The shine of the moon protects still the red buds that are coming out of the beech trees.
Mm.
And then it goes on and describes the landscape about a bush that stands there with flowers. And this says the green inhabitant of the moor. So it's like a frog, a very poetic term for a frog, is still silent.
Cicada?
Yeah, the cicadas are silent, and the mountain and valleys still sleep or slumber, and the nightingale, and not woken up by the nightingale.
Thank you. Perhaps you chose green because at least
Spring.
it's about spring, and there's a mention of a frog apparently.
Is
So-
St. Patrick's Day mentioned further down?
No. And then it goes on, then it says, sing, pleasant voice. Oh, this is a complicated sentence. I wouldn't know how to translate it. It's very poetic. It's the voice that sits and then sing, pleasant voice. The singer listens, and when the morning and the play of the harp, the friends of song collects the friends of songs, and then tries this play of the harp to say what you sang. Yeah, what you sang. This is what.
Oh no, it's an S, isn't it?
This is an S, the last one on it.
Song.
No, it's
Songs.
an S. It's an S. It's
Songs.
It's an S,
Those are long
F.
S's. He uses a lot of long S's.
Okay.
like 3 long S's in a row.
So it's not St. Patrick's. It's about I think the sounds you get in spring,
spring.
from nature and
Beautiful.
some groups out there.
Shall we move to the next one?
Yes, please.
You can come back later too.
This is Der von Kurenberg. It's a broadside done on like a pale brown paper or medium brown. Can I lift the map? in white ink with a very tightly spaced textura, beautifully done, extremely uniform spacing. It starts with a beautiful Roman majuscule W. It's just beautifully done. This is gorgeous. And with an attribution in Roman majuscules, large Roman majuscules on the bottom. And again, you have long S's, beast, B-I-S-T. Another, this Schöne, I believe. I think that's an O-E. You have an O-E ligature there in the middle of the word. I'm not sure if it's A-E or N-O-E.
Looks
It's,
like
I
an
think
OE.
it's an O. It's like, I think it means schöne, which is beautiful.
Mhm.
Also, how old is that? Because that seems to be like an older version of German.
Well, these could very well be from the 60s or 70s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good point. Yeah. Okay. So
I don't know though what date the quote,
the quote. Yeah,
what's the
because-
date
yeah.
of the quote? I
Yeah,
don't.
because some of these words, I don't even understand what they mean.
Yeah, he may have taken it.
Yeah, I know
very
some
early-
old quote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the OE ligatures are interesting. There's that you see them several times, OE here. And Bösen,
Yeah.
einen Bösen. This is a very difficult type of black letter to do, first of all, because the spacing has to be perfect, and also he has the diamond feet are perfectly placed on the terminals on the bottom and the serifs at the top. Even so, there's still a little bit of a subtle curve on the beginning of the W's, which is really beautiful. And the V's, notice the tapering vertical at the start of the minuscule V's. This is really beautiful.
And Christina just looked it up. It dates back to the 12th century. It's
Okay.
and it's Middle German.
Okay.
What's the
Minnesota?
Okay, let's move on
Okay.
to Julian Waters. You can come back
Okay, Julian Waters is an American calligrapher or English calligrapher?
American.
American.
His mother was English.
Yeah,
Sheila.
American calligrapher, still alive on the East Coast, living on the East Coast, I believe in Virginia or in Washington, D.C.
In
Is it Pennsylvania now?
Pennsylvania or Maryland.
He is Sheila Waters' son. Sheila Water was a very, very well-known English calligrapher who wrote and calligraphy teacher who wrote, among other things, Foundations of Calligraphy, which is like the Bible of calligraphy. This is Kultur und Schrift in a tightly spaced, Fraktur in black and red ink. The title is in a larger, uses a larger pen and it's a larger X height. And there are also beautifully done Roman majuscules on the second line in red ink. The text is in German and in English. The German is in black ink in Blackletter, and the English is in red ink in a Carolingian,
Mm.
script. The attribution Max Kafflich is done in small Roman majuscules.
Mhm.
Now, is this a print or is this a
That's an original.
original? Okay, because there's a series number at the bottom. It says Acorn Press. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. That was an original. No, it may not be. Wow.
Let me see. Can I lift the match?
Wow. I don't know if you, yeah,
I think it might. Well,
I thought it was an original,
it's printed
but
on
it's,
beautiful paper if
Yeah.
it's not an original.
no, it's, look at over here. 31 out of 195.
It's a print.
Yeah.
So,
So that must be a print.
oh, never mind. Darn. But the other ones here that I'll be showing you.
This is an
series.
original.
Yeah, this is his series. This series of statements on there by yeah, John Stuart Mill.
Of Liberty.
Yep. Happiness. So did you want to discuss that one?
This discusses this one. This is done in a beautiful
Right.
fraktur, tightly spaced fraktur. Really beautiful, very uniform spacing. The title, Liberty, is written in red ink. I don't know if it's or gouache or ink or watercolor or perhaps ink stick. The text is in black ink, perhaps black ink stick or sumi ink. It has a slight sheen to it. It's about approximately a 12 millimeter or 13 millimeter X height. The interlinear space is tight. It's the interlinear space is less than the X height, which is great for a text in which the lines aren't too long. The lines have about five. There are about 5 words per line, so this spacing works beautifully.
And the layout is very interesting.
Yeah, it's a vertical layout. It's
With the
more or less
indentations.
center justified.
Mhm.
So it's neither left nor right justified. So you have a ragged edge on both sides.
Mm.
And the D's have a diagonal ascender, a straight more or less straight diagonal ascender. Probably done with like a 2 millimeter or 2.5 millimeter nib. The attribution is in kind of a well, yeah, it's a fine uncials, fine uncial magister, well, fine uncials. It's a text by John Stuart Mill from 1859. And even though it's extremely uniform, there's still a certain freedom, a certain liveliness to the text, to the script. It's signed Julian Waters 2007 in the lower right-hand corner.
Okay, next up is Rudolph Koch
Okay.
at the next table. This book.
Okay, these next three pieces are by Rudolf Koch, a German calligrapher and typographer who lived in the early 20th century. He kind of revived and modernized Blackletter and Fraktur. He had a very almost brutal style, especially toward the end of his life. All of these are printed pieces. The first piece, can I open this?
Yes.
Die Weihnachtsgeschichte in Bildern von Rudolf Koch.
It's a Christmas story.
Hmm?
The Christmas story.
Oh, a Christmas story. Okay, thank you.
It's actually the gospel.
Mhm.
It's the Christmas gospel.
Oh, okay. The Christmas Gospel. Die Weihnachtsgeschichte, ein Logbuch in den Holzschnitten von Rudolf Koch. This is I believe this is a woodcut.
Yes.
Yeah,
The other term I'm thinking of is it Sharon Schnitt? Sharon
Sharon
Schnitt.
Schnitt.
That's the one.
and it's printed in a vermilion and black ink. And you can see that the text is, the letters are very chunky, very, very, well, they appear to be very freely done. And
Just can't imagine the patience cutting that out of a piece of wood.
yeah,
It's amazing.
beautiful, narrow majuscule letters in on the first three lines. Oh, I think this is from the Gospel of St. Luke. Yeah.
Oh, is this a verse?
That's a letter.
Capital E.
Is that an E?
E. Mhm.
Very tall, thin versal E at the beginning of the first sentence. Es begab sich aber. So you have woodblock illustrations. In the center, this is very typical of Rudolf Koch. He did several woodblock books like this. And you have an asset, several assets there, the long S in the Hausen. Yeah, many long S's and assets. And a TZ ligature. He uses a double dash to indicate it, where a word is hyphenated. Notice the decorative flourishes at the ends of lines to fill in the white space.
And then it's just
Okay.
from the actual
Um,
print.
From the actual cut.
And then I wonder how many books were made. We don't know.
It could say in the colophon, I don't know.
Because the definition is very clear, so it was one of the early ones, I'm sure, but it didn't get fuzzy after printing.
Well, I have no idea how many.
Yeah, you can.
Biography or critical.
Just the Christmas of
I
the.
could. That is also him. He would have stood over, he would have stood over the whole process and most likely would not have allowed subsequent thinking to fail out.
In the last page, you have a woodblock illustration of Mary and Jesus, her baby Jesus, sitting outside in the sun in a little fenced-in area with lilies around them.
So Raoul, you don't know how many were printed in this edition, do you?
I know, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
We'll have to find out.
Maybe I have to find out. And also, it's not dated. It says 1930 something. I believe he died in 1934, 35.
35, so
So it would be prior to 35, 1935.
possibly, unless somebody continued to bring it through the press after. So.
It was published in 1921.
Was it?
Mhm.
Oh, interesting. This was published in 1921. Maybe this is, okay, so I don't know.
1614, is that a series number?
No, that's our acquisition number. Session number.
Okay. Doesn't say when it was.
Yeah,
Doesn't say when it was
unless anything in the colophon, that's
Is
a
that-
bookseller's,
Okay.
bookseller. More booksellers, Marks.
Okay.
No.
Wilhelm Gaston Offenbach am Main. Rudolf Koch worked most of the time out of Offenbach on Main, which is a suburb of Frankfurt in Germany. He worked most of his life most of his active career for the Wilhelm Klingspor type foundry in Offenbach. He designed many typefaces for them, including Kabel, Neuland, Wilhelm Klingspor Schrift, and many others. He really did some
Yeah, beautiful ones.
really
Neuland.
groundbreaking
Right.
typefaces for the early 20th century. It was groundbreaking.
And many students who went on to become remarkable calligraphers, designers in their own right.
Yeah.
Fritz Cradle comes to mind, who is one of my top favorites. He was, I think Fritz worked with him as an apprentice in his workshop and then emigrated to New York, where then he also became teacher to a number of calligraphers, including Jeannie Wang.
Yes. Yeah. So the next book, Die Lieder des Heiligen Franziskus, I believe that means the songs of St. Francis, of Assisi.
Yeah, it says translated into German by this Mr. Schlosser.
Oh. And it's printed in black and red ink. I don't have a date on this. Probably perhaps the 1930s. I don't know.
Let's see, the book card says 1910.
Oh,
Right.
1910, okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is a woodcut or just a some type of letterpress process. This looks, it's more, the calligraphy is a little more formal. Very small text blocks with a lot of space, very generous margins. He liked having very generous margins in his printed pieces as well as his manuscript pieces. And they're numbered. Beautiful. N and majuscule N and majuscule U. The majuscules are fairly narrow. And notice the majuscules in this one. So I suppose he decided to use very narrow majuscules because the rest of the text is very, very tightly spaced. You have H and a B with just straight backs on them on the left-hand side. Same thing with the K. The K has a straight back on the left-hand side with just a horizontal swash at the top. Interesting F with two verticals in it. Same thing with the T. Also an interesting T. T with two downstrokes in the stem. Gepreisen? What does that mean?
Praise.
Praise?
So
Oh,
this says,
okay.
we praise to the Lord for, and then it always says about what.
That's why it starts the same. and-
It always starts the
With
same.
that.
It also praise to the Lord for our sisters' will, the bodily death.
Mm.
And it's even all the first lines started the same way.
Gesandte, erfasst von dem seligen Jacopone von Todi. I shouldn't try reading this.
Is that an I or J?
This
Those are eyes.
eyes,
Eyes,
yeah,
okay.
in, very pretty.
They look different on the other side.
Yeah, and then these are also eyes, I believe, but they have a diagonal downstroke instead of starting with a vertical. Again, the spacing, you can see he liked the real tight spacing, but you can still tell that it's a copy of hand done calligraphy.
Mhm.
See the long S's, sinkte, sprengte. Slightly rounded counters on the minuscule letters. So well, and then as it goes on, some of the on the later pages, it looks like the spacing is a little tighter, and the X height is smaller. So it's beautiful. And it gets even smaller. The end. And
Here it tells about when it was done.
Copies were printed.
oh, okay.
They were printed in a town called Jena, which is in East Germany.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
It's Germany, but it's used
Before
to
it was
be
there.
before the reunification was in East Germany.
Mhm.
Okay. The next one, I believe this is Isaiah or
Elia.
Elia. Elijah, I'm sorry. And this is a woodblock print with really, really lively, thick, chunky black letters, a typical Rudolph Koch style. Notice the S, it's almost a circular S. Very rugged, brutal strokes. The strokes are not exactly vertical. They tilt to the right and to the left a little bit, but overall the spacing is uniform. The ascenders are a little bit flared at the top. Notice the D's with the diagonal ascender. Notice that's an umlaut on the U, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and so you see how he does that. It's like two thin diagonal strokes. But they're not vertical, they're diagonal. But notice how tight the interlinear spacing is. So to do that, I guess he had to, well, there must have been a lot of thought given to this. Also, he had to reduce the size of the ascenders and descenders in some places. And then this big versal U, majuscule U. There's a woodblock illustration.
Letter is some
And
B.
that's a B. Rostet Brot und eine Kanne. So this is kind of a modified elephant trunk on the back of that B. And we'll see in some of the other pieces we're going to look at today, there are other calligraphies that may have been inspired by this style.
I just noticed, it's interesting that this page is actually folded over.
Right,
It's,
these pages are
And how they
Uncut.
printed it. Yeah, uncut.
folded, they're not
Yeah, that's
cut.
fascinating.
And we're not going to.
And it's,
No.
it was found
Of course
by,
not.
the Letterform Archive also has a copy of this.
Mm.
It's almost identical.
Mhm.
Again, you have the long diagonal strokes over the U as an umlaut. And the esset in many places, the long S.
It's very powerful, even not understanding what it says,
Yeah.
just looking at the way the letters are created and the angles and the lines, it just creates a sense of overwhelming
Mhm.
power.
Perfect for the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rudolf Hook was very Christian, very nationalistic, very German. And both the illustrations are very powerful too. There's a lot of movement from these. You can practically feel the wind and the night. And those are his initials, RK, 1919. So this must have been done in 1919. This is block book and wood block print. And this has his.
So I think it means it was the 10th piece, because it says this, this book block of Rudolf Koch was printed as the 10th Rudolf finisher, which is I don't know, it must be something special, right? And was printed. This word means print. This must be a type of print by whoever the printer was.
Okay.
Wilhelm Gersten in
Wilhelm
Offenbach am Main.
Gersten.
And that's produced or made. So it must be the 10th piece of a series.
The 10th printing,
Yeah, printing maybe.
possibly.
Yeah, it says one.
Say what?
It said the 10th print. Print, the book, the
even-
print.
Oh, there's 10 prints.
But even I believe it's a cloth cover on the cover of the book that was put together. Is wonderful. This is one here.
Yeah, it has a cardboard inside that's covered with a
Is it-
decorative paper.
Is it paper or fabric?
That's paper.
Paper.
It's a decorative paper. It's glued onto the cardboard backing, or maybe the paper is what gives it the stiffness. I'm not sure. I think it's more like a cardboard here.
The one at Letterform Archive, are all the patterns the same? You
Sorry?
said, oh, is this the one you said Letterform Archive also has a copy?
Exactly. Yeah, Letterform Archive has one of these also, and the paper covering looks almost exactly the same, if I recall.
Really?
And maybe the paper covering was included when they produced the.
I
the
think that they
books.
would have done that. Yeah.
That must have been done by them after binding.
Right.
Okay, let's move on
So this,
to,
so we're
our
moving
other
on
favorite.
to another legend, or Hermann Zapf. Hermann Zapf was a illustrious a calligrapher and type designer, a German who lived during the 20th century, and he died just about 10, approximately 10.
2015, 20,
Mhm.
somewhere around.
Yeah. So he didn't die very long ago. He was a pioneer in digital typeface design. He designed Optima and many other digital typefaces, and he was also an excellent calligrapher. He did not only blackletter and calligraphy, but many other styles. This book that you're looking at today is Feder und Stickel, a kind of a compendium of his different styles of calligraphy that was published, I think, in 1952. The printing plates were cut in metal, I believe, by August Rosenberger. So it was kind of a collaborative effort between Zapf and Rosenberger. The page we're looking at today is shows a beautiful fracture minuscule alphabet in white on a black background. In the lower right-hand corner, you have the initials HZ, Hermann Zapf. The minuscules have rounded counters and some unusual minuscule letters that I have not seen before. The A, for example, has an unusual curve on the left-hand side, as well as an unusual foot, as well as the P with an extended ascender or serif, and then an unusual flourished crossbar. The Q, like the A, has the unusual curve on the left-hand side. You have a German K here, which has the crossbar and a high counter on the top. The O is rounded on both sides. It's just a really beautiful minuscule fracture alphabet. Here's a Y with a curved, kind of a curved right-hand side. I believe, Suya, you were asking about a Y, a curved Y. Well, this is a good example of what you could do with a Y to make the right-hand side curved.
It's interesting though, because it almost looks like an N.
It looks, yeah, it looks.
Yeah, it's might be a little unusual to read because since the bottom is not is open.
Except that it comes after X, so we
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
it's a
There's
Y.
context.
Yeah, and you have a regular S or a round S as well as a long S with a big swash on the top. There's no J.
Interesting.
I guess he would substitute maybe perhaps an I instead of a J. Very pretty. There are other examples of blackletter in this book. But first, I'll show you the cover, or the title page, rather. It's bound in leather. I'm not sure if it was originally published like this. I think that the purchaser may have bound it after the purchase.
No.
No, it would have been
This is
sold.
a special edition.
The special edition. Okay. This was 1957. Okay. Frankfurt on Main, 9th of April, 1957.
Oh, somebody got it for his 50th work anniversary, right?
Yeah.
50th jubileum.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a dedication to Mr. August
And that was
Rosenberg.
at the engraver?
Yes.
He was the engraver. Yes, he was the man who
Yes.
cut the designs into metal
And
metal
that was
printing
his,
plates.
50th anniversary
Oh,
as
oh
engraver.
my God. So this is a historic edition.
Would Zaf have designed this typeface for his book?
I believe he did.
He may have, yes. He could have certainly done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly. And this is the title page.
Oh,
Isn't that
great.
beautiful? And
Oh.
vermilion and black ink with a beautiful Zaf designed.
It's interesting that he has both the
Text.
quill and the engraving tool at the top, so that
Yeah.
it's a kind of a collaboration.
Exactly.
Really nice.
Yeah.
That's Herman. That Herman's off was that sort of very generous person who would have, he was very modest and would have always credited his, whoever he collaborated with.
Mhm.
And it's the gentleman who this book is dedicated to, who actually did the cut
Yeah.
of the letters.
Mhm.
That's what it says here.
Um,
It's written by Herman Zapf and in metal, cut in metal by
Right,
Mr.
yes.
Rosenberg.
yes,
Engraver.
but I believe based
Yeah.
on Herman's
Yeah.
Yes.
lettering.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and it was the other guy who cut them.
Yes,
Yeah.
Correct.
that's how close they
It's
were.
not an easy process to engrave.
It's easy to make a mistake. Amazing.
But the lettering is Herman Zapf. It's
Yeah.
very,
Yes.
very characteristic of Herman Zapf, the lettering. Let me see if I can find another black letter. Several examples. There are examples of many types of alphabets. Roman. Well, these are. This is an uncial. Yeah, kind of an uncial alphabet with a Roman, kind of a narrowed Roman majuscules. Roman minuscules, I guess you'd call these. It's beyond beyond Carolingian. Anyway, there's if you're interested in looking at this book more, feel free to come to the Book Arts and Special Collections department. Here you have a tightly spaced fracture alphabet. Both you have the minuscules on the first line and the majuscules on the second line. Really beautiful. With the high diamond feet on the bottom and very angular serifs. Notice the Y with the diagonal strokes in it, and an unusual Z, minuscule Z. Have a long S. The DE ligature. A more modern minuscule K. And it has, well, kind of a red ruling lines as if it were a manuscript. The next page has a quote from Goethe in a tightly spaced fracture. Did you want to photograph this? Okay.
And this is actually a very
Very
interesting
interesting
quote from
quote,
Goethe.
yeah.
He says the German lettering, or this type of lettering, in its adoration, is similar to Gothic buildings because it draws up your view to the height and draws us in with awe and admiration.
Very
That's it.
Gothic.
Yeah, it's actually a quote related to
Yeah.
the art of Blackletter.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Yeah,
translation. I'm glad we have a translator. There are several other Blackletter alphabets. I'm not sure if I can find them. Beautiful rotunda majuscule alphabet. Black on white and white on black. Here's a, I believe this was the one that I based the majuscule letters on that I taught you. It has several, yes, this is the one. Wide, round, majuscules, beautiful, very decorative, beautiful, nevertheless. That's the O with the rounded right-hand side as well as the Q. And that Z looks like a number 3. Yeah, very beautiful. The S, yeah, and a circular S, yeah. Yeah, notice that there are no elephant trunks on this. I guess he wanted something, letters that were maybe a little more compressed. He didn't want, that wasn't the design here. Okay, let's move on to the next. Oh, here's another, a Blackletter, a quote by Geibel in a beautiful fraktur alphabet, not as tightly spaced as the previous one we saw, the Goethe quote. Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is a very decorative Lombardic. Well, no, this is a fraktur majuscule alphabet with some, how shall I say, lined majuscules or with white lines inside them and little red accents here and there.
It's great.
Little red.
Every other one is like.
Yeah.
Right. They're alternating solid black and lined black. So, and then they go on and on. So,
But we have to come back.
Yes, you will. Would,
Yeah.
Raoul, would you like to say something about Herman's sketchbooks
yes,
from the war?
the sketchbook from the war. I'm not familiar with this one at all.
Okay.
But
Well,
it's a series of sketches done by Herman Zapf.
so these are done during the war years.
Mhm.
His father was a union activist
Mhm.
and so was in big trouble during that period in time. So as the son of a union activist, Herman's possibilities during the war years were not very good. So he was drafted. And once they found out about his lettering skills, they put him in the cartography unit so that he was drawing maps, lettering maps during the war years. And these are some of his sketches and his notes from that period in time and drawings.
Isn't this gorgeous?
Such a
little-
contrast to what his day job was, to be doing something beautiful like that.
What beautiful, that flowered border, and a beautiful illuminated majuscule, a W. I believe that's a W.
It's W, I thought it's an M, no, it's a W.
Vollbluet jedem Vater sein Frühling. And this is hand lettered. I mean, well, it's a reproduction of minuscule hand lettering. Very, very tiny. Very tiny lettering. It's a sketch of Paris. I guess he did go to Paris. I call him with the Eiffel Tower in the background. I guess that's the what's the name of that? The plaza that overlooks the Eiffel Tower from the other side of the Seine, where the I can't remember. I'm completely forgetting the names of these places. Sculptures that he may have seen in Paris. The Rodin sculpture, as well as a sculpture of Venus, the Venus de Milo, I guess. Beautiful sketch. Sketch he made in 1942, in March of 1942. He even gives the address, Haus der Kur Kartenstelle. Pretty.
Yeah, and this was in Dijon. No, it was in Dijon, in the town of Dijon in France.
Oh, okay.
That's the address.
March
March
20th.
20th to May 42.
So he was in Dijon.
Yeah.
Beautiful city.
Such a fine nib that he had.
Oh,
to
yeah.
write that. It's
And,
valuable.
wow.
Okay, let's
Move on.
move on to Arnie Wolf.
So many to look at.
Yes, please come back. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
This is a printed piece by Arnie Wolf. Maybe he was inspired by some of Rudolf Hook's very brutal, chunky letters. It's the battle between David and Goliath. It's apparently both typeset and block printed. It's done in red and black ink. And the minuscule fracture letters are just really brutal. They have differing stroke widths, and which creates a lot of movement and a lot of power.
Arnie was a native of Silesia, Silesia in German, Austrian mountains. Can't remember.
Now it was shipped out of Poland.
Poland, and emigrated first to New York and then to Berkeley.
Oh, really?
Yes, where he practiced as a wonderful calligrapher and printer, and as you can see, such a great artist.
Did he? Excuse me.
His wife Anna was also.
Did he teach at
Yes.
the university?
He did. He taught. One of his students was our girlfriend and late great curator Susie Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she had a number of very notable teachers, of which he was one, and he was a big favorite of hers.
15 relief cuts and type prints by Arnie Wolf from chapter 1 of Samuel, verse 17, the battle between David and Goliath. It's another page, and this time the text block is mostly in red.
Depicting a bloody battle.
And yeah, bloody battle.
So this would have been the original size,
That is the original
and it
size
would be
that
done
on a press.
on a press.
It's printed on a very thick, probably cotton, hot pressed paper, I think. Cotton rag paper, probably, with a decal edge on the right and the left. It looks like the letters may even have been constructed out of other pieces. They almost look like it was constructed out of strips of paper or possibly some type of template. But,
Yeah.
I can't remember whether he describes it in the colophon, but he might.
and here we actually have very, very angular Roman majuscules instead of black letter. See another. This is mostly in black.
Dramatic.
It is.
The Philistines are gathered together their armies to battle.
Are they standalone each sheet or is it like a consecutive? Is there like a?
They're in order.
They are.
They should be. Unless people like Raoul put them out.
Very creative.
So he would have done this on his press.
Look at this. Okay.
Like that.
No, this
Isn't
is
that great?
Wow, that
this is typeset.
It doesn't even matter what it says.
No,
on
I
it.
know. I mean,
It's
that's
just
typical.
the texture.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just go straight to the colophon.
I think that's it.
Here we go. Okay. This is the colophon from Samuel 1:17, the battle between David and Goliath. The portfolio consists of 10 relief cuts and 5 type prints, in an addition of 10 designed and printed on Reeve BFK. That's the paper by Arnie Wolf at the 2 Wolf Press in Berkeley, California. This is copy number 4, 1993.
Only 10 in existence.
Yeah.
If that many, because quite often printers will say that this is an edition of so many copies, but they never make it to that many. So the colophon is printed a little bit prematurely. So let's go to Ward Dunham. I'll take care of this.
Okay, this is a print, I believe.
Yes, they're all prints except for the very last one.
Okay. A print of artwork and calligraphy by Ward Dunham. Many of you
I
know
remember taking a class from him. I just
Ward
got into
Dunham.
calligraphy.
Yeah. Ward Dunham and Linnea Lundquist used to have a studio on Bryant Street, I think it was, in San Francisco called Atelier Gargoyle.
Yeah.
And every Saturday they would give a lesson, calligraphy lessons, a group calligraphy lesson in their studio called Black Sabbath. And that ended in 2010, unfortunately. Marion Eaton, Adrian Brooks. Apparently this is a poster for a play. And maybe that's where the play was given. I don't know. And he loved the eagle motif. Another poster, behold the calligraphic textures and iconographs of Ward Dunham. So now this was, I think, for a showing. Which was at Mendocino.
Oh, probably at the Art Center in Mendocino.
It says, let's see, presented by Timothy and Susan Todd and the Mendocino Calligraphy Society at the Wildlife Gallery
Oh, interesting.
in Mendocino and in 1981. This is another poster done for the Wildlife Gallery in Mendocino in an italicized Gothic with a big lion at the top and Ward Dunham's initials WD at the bottom. Printing of the same poster with a brighter red ink. The Ward has a very free style.
So we have, as you say, duplicates and triplicates.
And this is a
Oh.
poster he did for the National Weightlifting Championships in San Francisco at the Palace of Fine Arts in 1981. And the calligraphy is it's a rounded black letter, a modernized rounded black letter that he did very well.
This is so charming.
This is beautiful. Very legible.
Flip to,
So,
this is going to be the original.
okay. So this is a poster or kind of a farewell
The broadside.
broadside that he did in 2010 at the for the last session of the Blackletter, the Black Sabbath, and the Black Sabbath, I guess, started in 2006 and ended in December of 2010, and it shows the address of their studio. It's done in black, red, and blue stick ink, I believe.
I see some
Very
names
large
of
majuscules
people
at the
that I
top.
recognize. Are you
And
at
I'm here on the line 4. There I am. I was there. And I believe he made the attendees may be listed in the order of the frequency
Right.
that they attended.
How many times they attended?
I think David Brooks is probably the person who attended all of the sessions since 2006. And many other well-known calligraphers, including Sheila Waters, Annie Dunham, who is Ward's daughter, and other members of Friends of Calligraphy are in here.
Susie's in there too.
Nice to see
Susie Taylor, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna
So-
move on because we are running out of time.
Okay.
We're moving on to the amazing Hella Basu.
Halabasu.
Another German. So we've got quite a few wonderful German calligraphers here. Hella Basu emigrated to England, East Anglia, I believe it was, and taught there. She was also a visitor to New York. She was a friend of Lily Ronker. She taught classes in New York and Seattle. She visited San Francisco, and this is how we got her pieces. So this is probably my favorite, and it's original.
This is The Land Which No One Knows, with illustrations of boats in beige brown and black inks. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautifully illustrated.
And I think the others that you wanted are
Oh.
pretty much on.
I've never seen
I
before.
don't know, I thought you did.
I don't think I've seen this.
I'm pretty sure it was on the list.
Yeah, that was, this is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Now this
Her
is,
use of color is really, really amazing.
this is done in a very tightly spaced black letter and several different colors of ink and blue and brown or black ink.
So
On it.
first she had to actually color the background. Is that correct?
I'm not sure how this
was
was
that
done.
She-
Maybe this side, I don't, this side looks like it's already
Okay.
been on the paper. This looks like it could have been painted on.
And in fact, I think there's a marking down there.
I'm not sure. But she had a lot of her, I believe, many of her broadsides were, went through a screen printing process.
Okay. The layer is so smooth.
Yeah.
And in fact, she talked, maybe it was with Lily in a letter where she was waiting for some of her broadsides to be printed, and that was taking the screen printer a long time.
Okay, I remember seeing this one. Yeah. Now this is a beautiful piece done in black and white. I mean, gold and white ink on a it's maybe canzonita or some black, well textured paper. It looks like, I guess it's meant to look like candles. The white vertical text is, I think, supposed to look like candles, and but I don't know what the text says.
It looks like a chandelier. 'Cause
Or
it comes
yeah,
down.
almost like a
It's really
chandelier.
that
Yeah.
From the ceiling, and then those, like you said, candles.
It's a poem by Rainer Maria Rilke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. Here
It
it
says
says
here,
right
yeah.
here. Does it say which one?
Yeah, it says this is the title of the poem.
Yes.
And this is it's of love and death of the cornet. Christoph Rilke must have brother or
Okay.
dad.
Shall we move on to,
So the
our
last
other favorite, John Stevens?
The last calligrapher represented is John Stevens, an American calligrapher who's very well known for his brush calligraphy, but he also does gorgeous black letter calligraphy. This is the story of Bach and the herring. Bach and the herrings, written in purple, red, and black ink, and white and black ink on a gray gray laid paper. It tells the story of Bach and the herrings, and the black letter text is just gorgeous. Probably done with a 1.5 millimeter nib, I'd say, or maybe probably 1.5 millimeter, 1 millimeter, and what's that, like a 8mm, 7mm X height.
Mhm. This is quite wonderful.
This
too.
is beautiful, and this beautiful text block, this purple text block at the bottom.
Mm.
The diagonal ascenders on the D, the indented A. T inspired more like a Roman majuscule.
Mm.
A beautiful flourish on the F at the bottom, and he uses an unusual Y in these. Also, there's a little Latin quote in there in green ink too. This is a very fine, airy fracture alphabet done in beige, green, and lavender ink on black paper. It looks a little bit like Rudolf Koch's Frühling, a typeface. And just a majuscule alphabet in the middle, and on the top line you have something kind of almost a batard minuscule alphabet in lavender ink, and at the bottom a very tall, narrow aperture minusculus, careful.
Oh, yeah, it's a good idea to hold it close to you.
Yeah.
This the way he treated the frame with the ruling also.
And, yeah,
Oh, just
ruled,
not over the piece,
ruled
just to be careful.
the ruling lines in probably white pencil around the edge.
Mm.
Is this a signature? Oh, that's the Z in the bottom.
Oh, no, there's a signature.
Oh, there is.
This next piece is a large majuscule alphabet. I believe this is done in watercolor, brown and blue watercolor. I'm not sure if this is, I think this was done with a nib. Is this thing with a nib or a brush? The width of the strokes looks almost like a brush.
Take it forward.
But he is a master with a brush, so it very well could have been a brush. Given the difference in
Or an automatic pen.
They're running on
Automatic
forward
pen.
things.
possibly, yeah. And then a small, minuscule alphabet in the lower right-hand corner.
And it gets smaller and smaller.
And yeah, and then another one. And then a teeny tiny alphabet. It's nice to see originals. It's
Yeah, that's one of them. That is just a spectacular piece.
and John Stevens recently taught a fracture calligraphy class online. Unfortunately, I didn't take that. I'd like to. Okay.
Okay, I hope you'll all
that's
come
it.
back again and see more pieces of calligraphy from even more very rich collection.
Really wonderful.
Thank you for joining us today, and thanks to your Zoomsters. We'll see you
Thank
next
you
time.
very much. Andrea, and to the San Francisco Public Library Book Arts and Special Collections Department.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Everybody ready to pick up their bag?
Bye-bye.
Yes.